Now this, the governor of Kentucky signed a bill that allows public schools to teach classes on the Bible. Joining us now is Fox News radio host Todd Starnes. He's also the author of The Deplorables Guide to Making America Great Again. Todd, will this law run into any constitutional challenges?
I don't think so, Charles, because this is something that a number of public schools have been doing all across the country for years, these elective Bible classes. So it's not a mandatory class. Typically, these classes are taught off campus at some nearby location, and they're directed by people that have been approved and vetted through the local school boards.
Should also feel better about the recent Supreme Court ruling. So it does feel like maybe there will be less of a challenge than there might have been just a week ago.
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, look, I'm old school. I grew up in the southern states, so we actually pledged allegiance to the flag, and we actually started our school day with a prayer. This is public school, Charles. And so this is nothing new for a lot of folks, you know, who live in that so-called Bible Belt. But I do have one slight concern. My question is, who's going to be teaching these Bible classes? I know the Department of Education is going to be coming up with some sort of criteria. But at the end of the day, we're talking about a lot of different denominations who have a lot of different interpretations about the Bible. I mean, I'm a Baptist, but you got the Independent Baptist and the foot-washing Baptist and the Southern Baptist.
Well, can they all agree, like, on the Ten Commandments and start from there?
I think they could do that. So
Okay.
I think that's a good starting point.
Todd, I also want to ask you about President Trump tweeting, you know, of course, one of his big targets has been the media. In fact, this morning, this is one. At some point, the fake news will be forced to discuss our great jobs numbers, a strong economy, success with ISIS, the border, and much else. Your reaction to this? Well,
I just thought it was absolutely hilarious that the folks over at CNN do not seem to understand that professional wrestling has a lot more in common with the fake news. So I suspect poor little Jimmy Acosta is going to be sitting in the White House briefing room fearing that President Trump might come out and put him in a figure-4 leg lock. Look, I think people are starting to see the mainstream media for what's really going on here, that they want to destroy this president, and they're going to do everything humanly possible to make that happen.
You know, isn't one of their problems, though, is that whenever something happens on the left with respect to violence or imagery of violence, they're very slow. I mean, they grappled and they stayed up overnight and they just couldn't decide what to do with Kathy Griffin.
It's true.
Yeah.
The only people that are committing violence right now are the leftists, the left-wingers. And look, I'll give you another example. Over the weekend, Maureen Dowd, the lady columnist over at the New York Times, I use that term loosely, called the president a pig. A pig. What kind of a person does that? Certainly not ladylike or gentlemanly-like. But I didn't see the mainstream media coming out and attacking Maureen Dowd for going after the president. He did nothing to her. But again, I think the average American, they see this double standard and they see it for what it is. But here's what I would love to see. The next White House press briefing, Sean Spicer flanked by Hulk Hogan and Jerry the King Lawler. Brother.
Yeah, you might actually see that, but I'd like to see that first thing you talked about, maybe President Trump putting Jim Acosta in a full Nelson or something
Little
like that.
Jimmy.
Little Jimmy. Oh, boy, I got to tell you.
Name.
You know what? It's really amazing, though, and I think they're defeating themselves. They actually make these things more than they are. And they cry victim so much that it's fallen on deaf ears right now.
But at the same time, let's be honest, I think the president needs to ease up on the tweets. I mean, come on, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a double-edged sword, although it's worked a lot better for him than it hasn't. Todd, thanks a lot, buddy.
Thanks.
You got a new piece coming out today, right?
Yes, and it's on foxnews.com. Folks can check it out there. We weigh into the big controversy.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th.